guys, welcome back to Wix Fix. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Now in today's tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you how to create custom forms.
Has this ever happened to you? Has whatever happened?
Have you guys ever tried adding multiple forms to different pages on your website and then get greeted by this little pop-up that says you need to upgrade your Ascend plan to add more forms to your site? Or maybe you just want one form but it has a bunch of input fields and you get greeted by a very similar message saying you need to upgrade your Ascend plan to add more input fields to your form. Well, today I want to teach you how to completely bypass upgrading your website's Ascend plan by creating custom forms for your website. Now for this tutorial, I'm going to be using something called CMS, which stands for Content Management System. If you are unfamiliar with what that is, I do have a video link in the description below, so feel free to pause the video, go check it out, and then come back. But basically what CMS is if we look at this target website, we're going to see that the general design for these products are all the same, but the pictures, the titles, the pricings, and everything like that is all different. So basically CMS is really good for applying different content to a very similar design. And it's also really good for forms. And for this tutorial, I'm going to be making a job application type form for this cafe. So if someone wants to work for this cafe, all they do is come to this page, fill out the form, and the content is going to go straight to the site owner or any other managers that you want to set up. But let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we need to do is actually set up our content management database. So on the left hand side, you may see something down here that says Content Management System. For this example, I do not see it, so I'll actually come over to Add. We'll go to Content Management and add to site. Now you're going to see a little pop-up saying if you want to use a template. However, for this example, we're just going to use a blank one and we'll call it applicants. So as you can see here, it created two separate pages. It created an applicants all and an applicants title. So the applicants all is similar to the target example I showed you a few minutes ago, where it's just going to show all the products with the title and the description and maybe the pricing or whatever. And if you were to click that product on target, it would take you to that product page where you can add it to your cart or whatever. So this is a very similar idea. However, we don't need these for our website, so we can actually just delete these. So we'll just delete. Okay, now that we have a content management system, we'll go into Content Manager, we'll press Applicants, and you're gonna see it has generated a few basic fields for us, which we can just hide and delete. So we don't need an image, so we'll just delete this one. Description, we don't really need this one. And then what we're going to do is press Add, and we'll say Name. And this will be a text field. So we'll press Save. And then we're going to click this and say Make Primary. And now we can delete Title, because we don't need a title either. Now that we know the applicant's name, we need a way to reach out to them. So we'll add a phone number and email. So we'll press Add. We'll type in phone. And we'll leave this as a text field as well. And we'll do the same for email. Okay, now that we have a way to contact them, maybe we want to offer a way for them to upload their resume. So we'll go to Add, we'll type in resume, and field type, we're actually going to make this a document. And maybe you have several different positions at your restaurant or cafe. So we want to give them an option to apply for a specific position. So we'll go to Add, we'll do position, and then for the field type, what we're going to do is tags. Okay, and then just like most job applications, they have a preferred start date. So when they're going to be available to actually work for you. So we'll press Add, we'll type in start date, and field type, we're going to do date and time. And then lastly, I know a lot of applications here in the US, they ask if you are authorized to work in the US. So we'll just add, for this example, we will just add that as well. And we'll make this a Boolean, which means true or false. So there's only two answers, a yes and no, basically. Okay, and then next thing, this part is really important. We need to make sure we come up to this three dots. We'll do edit settings, and we need to change this from site content to form submission. That way, when someone actually fills out the form and press submit, it actually works. So we'll press save, and we'll go ahead and exit out of this pop-up. So if we go to Add, this new option right here will be available called Input. So now we can just start dragging out input fields like this. I'm just going to copy and paste this a couple times. and we'll make it look a little pretty. So now let's go ahead and change these. We'll click this top one, we'll go into settings, and we'll go to placeholder text and we'll say full name, okay? And then we need to scroll down a little bit and make sure that this field is required. Next, let's do this for this one as well. So we'll do settings, and then right up here in text, let's go ahead and change this to phone number. And then we'll change the placeholder text to phone number, and we'll make sure that this field is required as well. Now what required means is if a user does not fill out the phone number, the form will not let them submit until they actually fill this out. Next, let's do the same thing for email. So we'll go to type, we'll do email, placeholder text, we'll do email, and we'll make sure it's required. Okay, now let's go over to add, make sure we're on input, and we'll do upload button. And we'll just drag out this one right here, and we'll go ahead and match the width of the other input fields. And here we'll go into settings. Supported file type, we're going to change this to document. This field is required. And then for button text, we're going to do resume. Now let's go ahead and add a drop-down menu. So we'll go to input, drop down, and we'll pull out this one. This is going to be for the position, so they can choose what position they actually want to apply for. So we'll go to settings. For placeholder text, we're going to say what position. And then you can come up here and say manage choices. Now here you can do edit label, and we can say barista, kitchen, manager, and then we can also delete or add a choice right down here if you have more positions. Okay, the next thing I want to do is add an option for them to choose their starting date. So we'll go to add, input, date and time, and we will just pull out one of these options like this right here. Now if we go into settings, here we can select placeholder text, and here we can put in when can you start. And then if we switch over to the calendar tab, here we can have it set, we can set the week to Sunday, because I know that's kind of how the US does it. And then we can also make sure that the show future dates is on and show past dates is off. That way they can only choose today's date or a future date. And the last thing we need to add is a little switch. So if we go to input, switch, and we pull out this little switch thing right here, and then maybe we add a little text. And then the last thing we need to do is just add a button. So come over to add button, and we'll just pull out this basic one. Of course, you can design all of these input fields and buttons however you want, but for this short tutorial, we're just gonna leave it as is. So now if a user comes and tries to fill these out and press this little button right here, nothing is going to happen. So what we wanna do now is come over to add, go down to content management and do form dataset. This is gonna pop out this little element right here. This little element is gonna be invisible when the site is published. This is only visible inside the editor. So you don't have to worry about this or try to hide it behind other strips or anything like that. So what we need to do is click this element, press settings. Now we need to choose the collection that this is gonna go to. So it's gonna go to applicants, and then make sure it's set to write only. This means when a user fills out this form, it's going to populate content inside your database, which is exactly what you want. So we'll go ahead and exit out. Now we can select this input field, do connect to data, and then we can select the value. So this is going to be the name, and then same thing for phone number. We are going to select phone number. Email, we're going to select email. Resume is going to go to resume. Hey guys, while editing this video, I noticed I made a mistake and I didn't really do a good job at explaining how I fixed it in the original recording, so I'm just going to explain it right now. So remember when we were making the field types in the database and I set the position field type to tags? Well, tags is mainly for multi-check boxes like this. So if we go to add, input, and we do multi-check boxes like this. And if we were going to continue down the same example that we were doing, maybe you wanted an option for which days the applicant can work on. So tags would be perfect for something like this, where the user can select multiple options. However, for drop-down menus such as this, just leave it as text. Now, if you messed up like me, all you have to do is come over to Content Manager, Applicants, then you can select the title of this field, go down to Properties, and then here you can change the field type to whatever you need it to be. All right, now let's get back to the tutorial. We can have it select position, just like that. You can manually add your choices just like this. Now, if you have a more complex website, what you can do is connect list items from another database. But for this tutorial, I'm not gonna do that. And then for date picker, what we're gonna do is connect to data, start date, just like that. And then for this switch, we're gonna connect to this US authorized. And then for the button, we're gonna go ahead and change the text to submit. And then we're gonna click it, connect to data, and click action to submit. And then what you can do is add a success message, and then you can customize it to say whatever you want. Okay, and here is our page. So now let's go ahead and fill out this information and then press submit. There you go. So now the form is done. However, there is still one last step to do. So if we pull up our applicants database, we're actually gonna see my form submission. However, I did not get notified via email that someone submitted this form. So what we actually need to do is come over to settings, go to my dashboard, we'll do customer management, do automations. Now let's create an automation. So let's go ahead and change the name to job application. Then we're gonna set up a trigger. So when a user submits a form or submits a data form, we want to choose the data form because that means it's our custom form that we created. This one would be if you used Wix's pre-made like contact form or something like that. This one is going to be more for custom. So now we can do a specific form, or if you have multiple of these, you can do any form from your site. But since this one's going to be primarily for the job application, we're going to use a specific form. For the form name, we're going to do the jobs page that submits to the applicants collection. Now that we have a trigger, now let's select an action. So we want to get notified by email. We want to select the email that we want to get notified by, and then we can even set up a subject for the email. And then for timing, we want to make sure that this is immediately after it's triggered. So you'll get the email as soon as someone actually submits an application. And now let's go ahead and activate this automation. And now when you submit the form, you'll get the email. And that basically wraps it up for the video today. I hope you guys did enjoy, and if you learned something, be sure to press that like button and consider subscribing for more content like this in the future. Thank you guys again, and I'll see you all in the next one.